top right, our third StarTale player, trying to break the streak of Sculpt. He is...
StarTaleQ.
Very, very calm, collected player. Does not let his emotions interfere, unlike his previous teammate. And our Terran player, currently 2-0 in this series. Very strong. His ID is...
And this also, Sculpt!
Did a ton of damage, you know, unexpectedly early on. He messed with his opponent's mentality, it seems. This map is huge, by the way.
Yes.
What is your opinion on this map? I actually haven't been able to talk to you about this map specifically, I don't feel.
Okay, first thing I do want to point out as a positive, that the base with the third geyser, that's behind smoke, easy to kill from low ground.
Yeah, that's a rich geyser.
And it takes more units to mine it.
Yeah.
I think that is such a cool mechanic. I don't know if I like it specifically, but
I like
to have someone put that in, like, oh, this is so cool for us to test out and see how this affects it. The map overall, dude, I think the map has to go.
Me too.
I think it has to go.
It's too big. And
I love the ideas behind everything on this map, but especially the way that, you know, it's like there's different sections of the map, like the top part, the bottom part.
Yes.
It's a cool, everything about it's a cool idea, but this one in particular has to go.
It also looks like a bear jumping and doing a split, and I really don't like that.
Oh god, I didn't see the split before.
Yeah.
I don't know why you did that to me. I cannot unsee. I saw the bear. I can hear Calderbian. I went to Space Bear. It's like, all right.
Well, I mean, this map it's actually my least favorite map on the pool right now, but I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. I do like the creativity, like you mentioned, with the base. Now, to ask you another question while these openings unfold, it's going to be one Rax expand, of course, for our Terran. Now, what do you think about this new mechanic in Heartless Storm called the Collapsible Rock Tower? Well, hold on. Shoutouts to Haley W, who simply loves StarCraft.
Wow. Well, I love StarCraft too.
Yeah. Shoutouts to people out there around the world who love StarCraft as much as Haley W.
And you know what? If you just kind of like StarCraft, you're like, you know what? I'm a little bit bored right now. I think I might watch a little bit of this. I kind of like it. Yeah, shout out to you too.
Yeah.
You don't have to love it.
No, you don't have
There's all sorts of things I like, but I don't love.
And also shouts to those people who are watching StarCraft for the first time right now.
That's right. If you're watching for the first time, this is an awesome place to start your StarCraft career.
Well, so back to the topic. We have a third command center. Every time I want to start this, he's doing something different I have to talk about. What do you think about the Collapsible Rock Tower, that you kill it and it becomes destructible rocks? You can defend a base with that. What do you think about that type of
like it. I actually really like it. It's because those rocks don't matter. Like, if you don't kill them, it's fine, because there's still always going to be rocks there. You don't make it wider, but you can make it smaller for a bit, like close it off. I love that idea. I totally want to play around with that.
Me too, because sometimes even you can see, well, this bunker is definitely not going to be able to time for this early pressure, so he's going to have to be really careful. He will have 3 Marines if he micros them well. He shouldn't lose them, but he's controlling them. Okay, he was having them attack that depot for a second. He should raise this.
Oh,
that was a mistake.
No, a little mistake here by Sculpt. He's going to bring some SCVs down. And, I mean, he will be able to deal with this, but losing even... Well, it looks like he's going to actually lose... No, only 2 Marines. Okay, so that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, not as bad as it could have been.
Yeah,
But, you know, back to the rocks topic. For example, you could even, if you scout that your opponent is taking, for example, a hatchery on the high ground behind that tower, while it's building, you could kill the rocks, and then he can't send drones over there until he kills the rocks, for example. If you see the hatchery there and he hasn't killed the rocks yet, and you kill the rocks. Like, for example, there's a hatchery on the high ground, there's rocks on a ramp, the destructible rock tower. Okay, you see the hatchery building there, then you send your probe out, or whatever, then you kill the rocks, and then now his hatchery's in there isolated, he has to kill the rocks before he can even send units in there. That could be cool.
Someone's like, then he makes a Nidus worm to send them out. No! That probably would never happen.
That's not cost efficient.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys.
But yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I really like the idea. You know, it might open up situations where you decide, okay, do I invest in bunkers? Do I go for a cannon expand? Or do I actually go for a one gateway, make units kill these rocks expand? You know, like there might be things like that pop up. So that'll be fun, man.
I really cannot wait. But back on topic here, we see our Terran doing basically the same build that he showed us already. He's going for the fast third commander, but still going to Hellions and Banshee play, getting his engineering base on time. And at this point, Curious is going for additional queens, going for the 6 queen build that you like so much.
Yeah, and I think that's a great choice, man.
This may become the standard.
I would like it if it would, because the way that I think about StarCraft, the way that you know, I like it. This is like a very safe, intelligent way to play right now. It's, you know, yeah, it's a little bit different in some ways. I love that they don't use larva, but you can defend everything, get your creep out. You're going to have transfuses just in case against certain types of rushes. It's going to defend against all the Banshee-type play very well. I love it, man. You have these...
Well, these Hellions, man, they are trouble. He's trying to make the evolution chambers to partially block those as well as to get his upgrades going, but these Hellions have been really troublesome.
Yeah.
This is actually really cool, and the first time I saw this, I thought maybe he's just doing this because he knows the Hellions can't do much otherwise, but now I see this, and I think people are doing this queen build, but their queens are always out of position. And this is actually so smart to, it's like a metagame choice where he's like, most people are keeping their queens out of position, so I got to try to make this work because I can.
Yeah, you know what? That's a fine way to go about it. One thing I do want to point out as well is it looks like Sculp has this one build to do in this matchup for this match. You know, they had him prepare specifically for TVP, and now against Zerg, he's just doing the same build. And as we mentioned before, like, oh, you know what? If he does the same build against Curious, I don't think it's going to work. Curious isn't going to choke. And if we look already, those two Hellions before killed 14 drones. This time they killed one.
Just one.
They killed only one drone. So Curious already in such a better spot. And even that last game, after losing 14 drones, the kid got up to like 100 drones in insane creep spread with even one less queen. And this is Curious. So I feel like there's already a lead for Curious. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean. At this point, basically what's going to happen is that Sculp is not going to be able to move out with small groups of units on this huge map where the creep spread as good as it's going to be. Oh, losing these Hellions.
The slow links.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mistake, but he's worried about controlling this Banshee right now, which will be repelled by a Queen immediately. The worker count, by the way, is 63 to 53. At this point in time, he's going to scout the upgrade timings with that Overlord. Now, at this point, again, I strongly feel that he's going to have to wait until he has a much bigger supply before he can start being aggressive. And this is why this is such a good map for Zerg, because it gives them so much time to drone up and tech, even at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, they don't need to really do anything, especially when you go for something like this 6 Queen build. Like, what can really attack you? He's held off the Banshees, he's held off the Hellions with minimal lings. Well, I guess he did make a decent amount of lings, but did he really need them? No, not really. The Queens did everything. You know, he even throws a few spores, and at this point, you know, he's getting all sorts of upgrades, huge amounts of tumors, huge creep spread, his Spire, Baneling Nest. He has 15 tumors making right now.
15 active tumors, that's crazy.
And that's not even all of them. He has more than 15 that are actually active. He's just using 15 at a time.
It's insanity.
It's madness.
Overlord speed being researched right now, I think that's a good choice. It's something that we're not seeing enough. By the way, I heard in an interview yesterday with David Kim. This is actually something I want to ask you about as well. I just want to ask you questions right now.
Sure.
What do you think about this? The Overlord creep spread has been moved from Lair Tech to Evo Chamber.
Terrible, man.
That may be too strong.
I like everything else, but that's too strong, man. Do you know that you're not going to be able to Forge Fast Expand anymore?
Yeah, he's just going to block you.
Dude, I'm going to go. If I was a Zerg, I would just block that. Yeah, forget it, man. You kidding me? You're trying to go Forge Expand? I have creep there? What's up?
Make spine crawlers as well?
God. Don't even need that, man. You lay creep and they have to tech up to something that hits flying units. It's like, and they already have a Forge.
Also, though, the Mothership Core, if you get the Nexus first before your opponent can block you like that, this is a pretty aggressive timing that we talked about. I think he's going to be able to hold the Lings. I mean, like, we just said this, and we're just watching it unfold. This is exactly what we expected. I mean, with the amount of Lings he's made, he did not cut corners. He made way more Lings than King Kong did, and he was on top of it. He had good map awareness.
Yeah. And in fact, you know, we look really smart right now because this is exactly what we were saying that King Kong should have done and Curious will do.
Yeah.
So, cheers to us for looking smart.
He's basically doing the exact same thing. He's even dropping his units exactly the same way he did them before, but there's not even a hatchery here. Right now, Sculp looks like a robot with this matchup. He's doing everything exactly the same. Curious is going to completely shut this down. Not only will he kill these units cost efficiently, but will not allow the medevacs to escape, something that King Kong was a little bit hesitant on last game.
And, you know, this is just... this is not working out so well. He's like clearing up some creep tumors, losing a lot of units.
Yeah.
Curious is going to explode pretty soon here, man. Like,
yeah, he just, as soon as he gets that center base, the 3 gases, which he may take with the creep that he has, he doesn't even have to take that, he can take the bottom right. But the crease already has will likely take the center base, I feel. And I mean, this attack is going to be, he can't stop this, he doesn't have enough Marines.
Exactly, you know, against something like this, you can just make so many lings.
Oh, look at how carefully he saved his Banelings. That's something a lot of people are not doing right now. I love that once he saw that he didn't need the Banelings anymore, he pulled them back. Even the Queens being a fighting unit here, but in the end, I guess the trade is okay. The Marines still stand.
They do indeed. Some more being rallied up, but he's still completely fine. He has a ton of units back here, and he's going to overcommit here. Sculpt might. You know, there's Mutas, there's Queens, there's Transfuses, and with all these Lings coming out, very likely can lose a lot of these.
I feel part of the reason why he was able to win that fight was because his 2-2 finished just seconds before the Zergs, and so during that entire first engagement, it was 2-2 versus 1-1.
Totally.
And I think that may have really, really affected how that engagement turned out. Pathogen Gland's on the way. This center base is up and running. And like you said, Curious is about to explode. But Sculpt is not stopping the heat. He's actually continuing the attacks here.
Yeah, and I mean, they're doing all right, but we do have Pathogen Glands on the way, and that's going to shut down a style like this instantly. He's pushing forward and trying to microback against Banes and Mutas and Lings. Well, as soon as one Fungal goes down, he loses all that. So we do see here the Mutas coming in, trying to clear up some Siege tanks and Marine rallies. A good move by Curious, bringing the fight back to the other side of the map, buying himself more time to macro up.
Yeah. At this point, you look at the supply, it's so close in supply, and I feel like even though Curious has so many advantages, arguably Sculpt's pressure here has not been stopped yet.
No, it hasn't.
And he's not done. The creep is no longer active across the center of the map, it's across the bottom of the map, but he has done what he's set out to do here, and he's even going to send a drop now. At this point, Curious is going for a flank, but if this doesn't work, he's going to be in a ton of trouble.
Well, his flank was a little bit mistimed here. The tank's targeting down a lot of Banelings, and in fact, Sculpt with some great play here. Wow.
Amazing split, and like you said, the flank was not well timed.
Yeah.
Now Sculpt has the timing to actually come down and take this hatchery out. He can fall back to his siege tanks. They are very much alive.
And here we go. He's going to start with his flank. Banelings coming down from the north, Zerglings from the right, and it looks like will he clean up? Just barely does not. Sculpt continues this relentless aggression. He's playing very, very well here, but don't count Curious out yet. Has a lot of Lings still popping out. A lot of Banelings just opened up. And, we do have a drop over there as well.
Yeah, this is, basically, he's falling apart all at once. That one drop he sent around the side, there's no answer for it. He's going to split against these Banelings. Actually just lifts up instead. Banelings hitting a tank. Huge miscontrol.
Yeah, that really was.
It's game over. Double the
really
supply.
is. This is insane, man. Sculpt actually executed this so well.
Something we didn't talk about at all, by the way, is Mutas on a big map like this. Was that the right choice? Should he have just gone Infestor first?
You know what? If he had gone Infestor first, he might have been doing a good job, but don't forget that drops are going to be very good against it. So Sculpt actually has a multi-pronged thing going on here, and I'll talk about that in a second as we do watch Curious try to stop this just relentless army of Sculpt. Sculpt really surprised me that he won this. I thought for sure, especially after the first few attacks were completely slaughtered by Lings. I thought, wow, there's no chance. Like, Curious is going to clean him up, but Sculpt, actually played masterfully.
Yeah, and now his 3-3 is finishing. It's going to be just like last game. Once the 3-3 finishes, he's got 100 supply lead. There's nothing that he can do. His Banelings are desperately trying to connect. There's no way for him to make it work. GG, and Sculpt is on his way down the path of Joxy. He may be the second Terran to get an all-kill for this team.
Wouldn't that be crazy? Well, Curious can't be happy, and StarTale has to start getting scared now. Okay, they've got
2 players left.
Only a few spots left. Yeah, they have to use Bomber, they have to use Parting. Who else are they going to?
I think they have to use Bomber first.
I do too. I don't think you want to put Parting out yet. But this is bad news bears for them, man. One thing I want to point out that's really cool about this style, because what you brought up, yeah, Infestor first would be pretty cool on this map, but that first force he's moving out with where he's dropping a lot, that in particular is going to be strong against Infestor. Infestor's a little bit weak to drops, especially early on when you first pop out your Infestors. You don't really have a lot of units. You kind of have to keep it together a little bit to deal with everything.
No,
so that would be good. And then the Mutas really clean that up, but that second push, that Infestors would be good against. Mutas are not as good.
How many Mutas did he make in that game? Did he make too many? Because if you have 8 Mutas, that's enough to stop a drop. If he made I don't know exactly how many Mews he made, in fact, because if he made something like 16, then he could have afforded to use the 8 Mews to defend drops, use them only defensively instead of trying to harass, then get infestors as well.
Have you seen this particular style recently from the Zerg?
The one that he's using? No, not.
Yeah, okay, I haven't either, and I think that's the same for him. So he puts him in this hard decision where it's like, okay, yeah, you're going Mews and clean up these drops. Good work, buddy. Keep doing it. And, in fact, he did. Now, Curious probably hasn't really practiced against this exact style. We saw things like this a long time ago, like a year ago.
Polt has kind of been doing it recently.
Yeah, yes.
But
yeah.
I feel like Polt is kind of, in my opinion, pushed this matchup forward in this way where people are finding out that once you hit 3 base as Terran with tanks and marine production, you just keep going. You don't once you hit a certain number of medevacs, you just stop making medevacs and use all your gas for tanks if you even want to, and that lets you stay on 3 base for a really long time as Terran, and that's when the Zerg is panicking, trying to figure out how to tackle that push. And we've seen this style evolve more and more recently, and on a map like this, most people wouldn't expect you to attack against that much creep spread with this small group of units, and it's a snowball effect. You win the first fight, then the second wave of units comes in, then the third wave of units come in. It's usually about 11 Marines at a time with 1 siege tank mixed in, and it suddenly just compounds and it snowballs. And if you don't have infestors out fast enough, the Mews aren't going to fight for you. They're not going to be able to harass on a big map like this. He's not going to turn around because 11 Marines alone with turrets up at home, no problem. Defend the Mutas.
That's very true, Wolf. Really kind of a cool style. I'm glad that we got to see this here. And I actually am really looking forward to seeing more of that in the future, but the Zergs are gone.
The Zergs are gone
for StarTale, so that's the last time we'll see that today, but I will be looking out for some more of that. I really love how, he starts out strong against Infestor and then gets strong against Muta.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, what do you choose against this?
It seems like a catch-all.
Yeah, it seems like it, and I love builds like that have like strong points against everything you can do.
Oh, wow. I cannot believe Ace is the choice.
I cannot believe this.
I mean, I would have thought maybe Ace instead of Curious. Not to say that not Curious. Like, I thought it was going to be Ace or Bomber last time. Now that Ace is coming out, I think he's probably
They're not even going to use... This means that they can't use Bomber or Parting.
That's true.
They can only use one of them. Unless Parting is just like on a down streak and they want to use Ace instead of Parting, but I would think by now you're like, all right, listen, Sculp, he played actually some beautiful TVZs there, and his TVP is really good, as we know. He knows how to react very well. I really felt like Bomber was the right choice here. I don't feel like Ace is the guy to send out.
You know who Ace feels to me in the team league like some flashy joke, not like a joke, but like he's like, when I say joke, I mean that like he has a lot of builds that win.
Yeah.
But like the thing you're not scared about with Ace is like a long macro game. Yeah, he can do that.
Yeah.
But it's like what right now Sculp is probably thinking about is what all-in may I face against Ace?
Yeah.
Because he's the player of choice here. StarTale's expect him to get at least 2 or 3 kills. Any player you put out second last, he's got to get at least 2 or 3 kills in this type of scenario. We're going to talk a little bit more about this after we have a 5-minute break, but I have a lot to say.
Me too, actually.
All right, we'll